Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Keegan Goodspeed, guitarist and vocalist of the band Botfly. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! Well, what's going on, Caffeinated Crew? Today on the podcast, I'm joined by Keegan, Mr. Goodspeed, if you're nasty.
What the heck is up?
How are you this morning?
I'm good, man. I think I fixed my truck this morning, so I'm kind of flying a little high on that right now. So
It's hard. It's only 11 a.m. and we've already done shit.
Oh, dude, I'm up at 7 every day, even on tour. Like, we'll go to bed at 3 and my body's like, let's get up. We don't have to do anything, but we're getting up. I'm like,
oh my God.
Fuck.
You just can't rest.
No, I can't. No. I'll tell you, I've slowed down a lot, especially when touring evaporated for a couple of years there. I slowed down a lot, but my desire to keep moving is always there.
It's insatiable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to work a lot doing travel, and I was never kind of in the same place for one time, like for a long time. I'd come to Montreal for like 2 weeks and then go back out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got very well accustomed to like city living when I was here for 2 years. Now I don't think I could do it again. So props to you for still touring.
This is your big identity crisis as to why you won't come to Nova Scotia then, eh?
That's not an identity crisis. I've talked to some people from PEI. They made me scared of some people out there, but
scared.
Yes, maybe it's just PEI. You know how they are up there.
Like
with their Robins, with their Robins coffee, and
I mean, it's no Dunkin', but
thank you for giving that one. That's a good one. America runs on Dunkin'.
And like Bab said, Canada runs on Timothy.
Do you know this man, Timothy Horton?
I am well accustomed.
Well, yeah. So I know Nova Scotia. The Scotia's got some cool stuff. And y'all got Liam out there somehow. Y'all convinced Liam to move. Yeah,
and then he's convinced that I'm gonna make his bikes even cooler than they already are. So
yeah, that's something that I would like to see happen. Louder, maybe. He just wants louder.
Oh, that's easy. You just cut the muffler off, off, and you're good to go.
Straight pipe that sumbitch, you're good to go.
Every day. Fuck the neighbors, man.
What are you drinking this morning?
I am drinking some Have Fun coffee, which is a relatively newer brewer here in Nova Scotia, Dartmouth. It's our buddy Sonny. He's been around for a long time. He's got cafes here. He's got this ice cream bar that's downtown that's open seasonally in the summer, which is awesome. So he's a cool dude, and I love his coffee, so I can't complain. Which is actually one of his coffees. Can't complain. So,
this is sick.
This is breaking news. He's coming up on 1 year of roasting. So,
wow, really? His branding is fucking phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. And on the down low, I think we're doing a summer blend with him. So I'm working on that.
So y'all are kicking receiver to the fucking curb.
No.
Wow.
Everybody gets their fair share.
Y'all just hop around. Y'all go have fun. Receiver anchored.
Yeah.
Who's next?
The Bots brand has to give to plenty.
We got plenty of love for everybody.
Why not? Right. You can't get stale. See, this is why I can't write the smooth brain breakdown stuff, because by the time I do it, it'll be stale. So I got to add a couple wrinkles back up in there and we'll be good to go.
Yeah. See, this is what I try to tell people. They're like, Botfly, what is Botfly? I'm like, that's thinking man's music.
Fuck, I haven't been able to answer that question in the 10 years that I've been doing this. So
I tried to describe Botfly's music to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I thought it was this." I was like, "I guess we just can't nail it down."
Hey, it's a double-edged sword, I'll tell you. It really is.
Putting a tour package together, is that it?
Like, honestly, I had no idea what to expect when we did that tour with Chastity and Single Mothers, because like that newest Chastity record's like pretty mellow, and like even the Single Mothers record is like pretty rock, and I'm like, well, we're not like really any of this, but those two bands, they are punk bands live. It is so sick, and like all three of us just high energy the whole time. I was like, this totally makes sense. And then so we did those shirts. I don't know if you saw them. That was like genre non-specific hardcore, which is like this. That's like the new flag that we're carrying around, because you really can't put a pin on exactly what we are, which is fine. So I kept going up to each member. I'd be like, "Yo, Single Mothers, genre non-specific hardcore." They'd be like, "Yeah." Like we were just like, we were all flying the flag by the time the tour was over. It was sick.
Well, we'll dive more into the touring and the music, but first, I must. Yeah,
what are you drinking?
I must tell you that I'm drinking some Balanced coffee. It's nice. Also a friend.
That branding is sick as hell. Is that Godzilla?
Attacking Montreal. Yeah. So this is his Supremo. It's a Colombian single origin from Medellin, and it's got some chocolatey notes. It's like chocolatey, cherry, a little bit of citrus.
I'll have to check that out. Colombian's definitely my favorite.
It's good. Are you a classic Colombian, or are you like that new fruity, crazy fermented Colombian person?
I will fuck with that, like the fruitier stuff from time to time, but I'm a blue collar boy, you know. I want that working man's coffee that's easy drinking. I mean, I think you and Babs kind of went over that when we were talking about the Bots blend. It's just, I want something you could drink and just get moving, you know. Mm-hmm. But every now and then I do like something that you just kind of sip away at and you're savoring. Yeah.
So this is definitely more of your traditional taste. I would say it is in terms of like traditional, it's definitely more on the weird side, but it's still got like a nice nutty, the cherry. When I opened the bag and like put the beans in the grinder, I was like, just chocolate, like crazy dark chocolate smell.
Hell yeah.
I miss Bots blend though.
Yeah, Bots blend was good. And I think you can still order it through Receiver. But I drank that shit for like a year straight. I was like, I need something else. But yeah, I went to the roastery, the Have Fun roastery there a week or two ago, and picked up a 5-pound bag. And like my truck just smelled like heaven on the drive home. I was like, this is if I could get a car air freshener that was just this, I would.
Well, we should switch, because apparently new car smell is linked to cancer now. I didn't know this.
You know what kind of isn't at this point in time,
right? Humanity is a cancer.
Yeah, I mean, I was a welder for 11 years. There's no way I'm avoiding that later in life. So,
what's that? Mesothelioma? I don't know what the other ones are. All I know is the class action lawsuits for mesothelioma.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that.
Is that the asbestos cancer? I can't remember.
Fuck if I know, man.
Anyway, well, I'm glad that you're not welding anymore.
Yeah.
Were you in the union?
No, I'm not a union guy. I don't not believe in them. I've just never been a part of one, except for Nova Scotia Music Union. You know, got to be a part of that.
You got to join the AFM.
There's only one reason to do it, and we all know what it's for. Cross that border, baby.
We all know in Canada, because we all know the struggle. It's sad. It's sad because I had no idea until I moved here.
It's brutal.
Because everybody's like, "Oh, you know this band from Canada, this band from Canada." I'm like, no. Yeah. And it's because of the fucking visa process. It's completely terrible. So you guys have really worked hard.
It's a hellscape to navigate the website and do it right. And yeah, I'm glad the paperwork is filed and I don't have to look at that for another year.
So you guys have done the visas how many times?
Just once before.
Okay.
Back in 2019. So we went on a US run end of 2019. I think it was November. And we had another one planned for March 2020. But
Obviously.
And we were all amped up because like the visas aren't cheap. They aren't disgustingly expensive, but they aren't cheap. And we paid for it on the first run. Like we had everything like zeroed out. We're like, all right, so every time we go to the States now, it's like just making money, because you got to convince yourself that you're making money when you're in a band. And so we had this sick like 2.5 week run planned, and then everything shut down. We're like, oh, fuck. All right, I guess we're not doing this. And then literally the day that we were supposed to cross is when like they shut the border crossing down. Like you weren't allowed to cross into America unless it was like super important or whatever. So we're like, well, I guess we're just putting our feet up for a bit, whatever. And then 2 years later.
It's crazy.
As like shitty as I felt about like our situation, I was like, you know what though? Like outside of the people who have health concerns, like in just a band perspective, I was like, there's so many bands that are like making a living off being a band that just got so screwed. Cause we were months away from quitting our jobs to go full time. And then like that shut it down. Good thing we didn't back in November be like, all right, this is it, we're going.
It's like a blessing and a curse.
You go crawling back to our old bosses like, please, can we have our jobs back? Like,
I'll be an essential worker, I promise.
Yeah, I promise. You don't even have to give me hero pay.
Hero pay.
Oh man. Anyways, let's not dive too much more into that. I don't want to talk about that. People are mic sharing again, so we're good to go.
Oh yeah, man. I've been shoving the mic in people's mouths, touching tongues.
Yeah. There's
twitching tongues, and then there's twitching tongues, and now there's touching tongues.
Yeah, and both are back. So
both are back.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. The Young Brothers were gone too long.
I mean, yes and no. They were doing other sick projects, but
I know. God's hate. Dead Body.
I'd say Dead Body. All of it's good.
Dead Body ripper.
Dude, Dead Body came out and I was like, I guess I like deathcore now because this is fucking incredible.
Is it deathcore? I feel like it's more grind.
I think it teeters on both.
I agree.
Because you got like the slower breakdown parts with the solos that are like a bit more metal than your typical grind. But I'm also not a big grind head, so nobody hold my words to this.
I know like 3 grindcore bands, and one of them is Escuela Grind because they're basically a hardcore band that plays grindcore.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I know that band. So,
I mean, like my grindcore experience is like early Daughters. So like whatever.
Before they went kind of artsy punk.
Yeah, but I'd like that more. Not gonna lie.
You seem like
the 2010 self-titled record that blew my mind. And then
I got into them.
The newest one that they put out there before all shit hit the fan again for that band. Everybody really loved it, and I didn't. I think maybe I was past wanting to hear artsier music like that at the time, so it still hasn't really hit me. And now I just don't care.
Yeah. Do you teeter?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you go like, interesting music and then like caveman music, interesting music? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like I loved noise rock for a long time and kind of like flew the flag in our own way with early Botfly, just like trying to write kind of like quirky, weird guy music, but keep it like still with like your classic song structure. But then like once I kept diving deeper and realized that like all noise rock fans care about is like the clankiest bass tone, and like if you didn't sound like shit from the 90s, like they don't care about you. And I was like, I fucking hate this, man. Like you gotta learn to push the envelope. Like you can't just sit in one like 4-year period and expect people to just like abide by all these rules. Like that's not music. That's just fucking copyright. Like it's stupid. Screamo is in the same world. Like there's a subsect of Screamo enjoyer who's like, oh, Jerome's Dream, da 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 da. And like if it's not like that, or if you're not like not singing into a microphone and like not screeching and shit like that, like they don't care. It's like all you're doing is limiting yourself. It's pointless. Like there's so much good music out there. Like I'll use my own example. I hated country music forever, but huge Neil Young fan. And I was just like, I just gotta like I think I'm hating this just because it's a thing that I've said for so long. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm just missing out on so much good music because I'm being foolish. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, I wised up to that as well. Cause when you're like a scene kid, you only like the most brutal fucking pit wall death. And then it's like country music and rap are horrible. And then I got into rap. I'm like, okay, rap is pretty cool. And then 3 years ago, it's like, oh, dude, country music is so fucking good. It just makes me want to drink.
Oh, I mean, good thing when I got into country music, I went sober. So, that's. But me and Baz were living together, and he's just like, he's a music fanatic. Like, there's so much I learn about different genres just because of him. Like, he's so open-minded to that. And I think living with him really made me settle down on having like hard opinions on music and just being like, yo, if it's good, it's good. Yeah. Like you can't, like I said, all you're doing is hurting yourself by being like, oh, I don't like this style. Like, well, guaranteed anyone who says they don't like a certain style of music, if they listen to an abundance of it, they would find someone they like. Like, I think rap is sick. I don't listen to a lot of rap. And I find rap is very like fast changing. Mm-hmm. So I find it really hard to be like, I don't know what to listen to. So I kind of just stick to like the early 90s stuff that I know I like Nas and Biggie and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Like the stuff that any generic hardcore kid probably likes in rap. So, but like, if I was to take the time and dive into it, I would find what kind of subsect of rap that I actually like. And I bet you there's thousands of artists that I could spend decades listening to if I really wanted to, but it's hard to consume it all. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can get lost in the ether of like how quickly music changes. Now that we're streaming, it's like Spotify is a bottomless pit.
It's a blessing and a curse, man. Like
having unbridled, uncurated access to things.
I love letting Spotify go off on its own.
Yeah.
And seeing what I can find. But like, yeah. It's a black hole, man.
You will never find the end of that bottomless pit.
It's true.
Well, I had Babs on before, like we mentioned earlier. Shout out Supremo Cowboy.
Yeah. Get your shit printed by him.
Yeah, and just give him money in general. Like, just send him, like, we'll give you his Interact e-transfer and just send him.
He's honestly, like, he's such a beautiful boy. You should just pay him to exist, honestly. Yeah, just the overalls and the overalls was my thing. All right, that was my thing. People jacked overalls from me, which is an outrageous claim for me to make, but I'm sticking with it.
You did. So you got those painters ones, like the white fucking painters.
Yeah, they got so dirty.
They were looking a bit grody when I saw y'all.
That was like one.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
But I remember that. So Babs got the black with the white stitching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Felix.
Yeah. Felix is just trying to be me. We all know it. Felix is the Montreal Keegan.
I will say he did basically say that exact statement when I saw him the time after it was actually the Kennedy show following the Botfly show. Yeah. And he's wearing the overalls. So I was like, so you just took a note from Botfly. He's like, I'm just trying to be Keegan. I was like, what?
Felix is really funny, man. I met him, I think in 2018 when we did a tour with Die Hex. And he rolled up to the gig, like hood all the way over to like to where my toque is right now, like covering his eyebrows. And I was like, yo, this guy looks like he wants to fight us right now. Like I was like a little scared, right? And like back in 2018, I was probably like 60, 70 pounds lighter. Like I was a small dude. I was like, fuck. And then just like after the show, like kind of got to know him and then just kept in touch. I was like, oh, this guy's like a total softie, just like me. Like I love this guy.
Have you seen his straight edge tattoo?
No.
It's his first tattoo. It's just across the bottom of his belly. Like
amazing.
Just 3 X's. I was like, That's like your only tattoo, and it's that.
That is equally hard and ridiculous all at the same time.
But he's still straight edge. So shout out to Felix.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to him. But then he got the overalls, and then for Christmas, my wife got me the exact
hell yeah
overalls. So I've been wearing them, and it's cool because
I'm here for people wearing them, dude. Like they're a fantastic and comfortable attire.
In the scene, we don't have enough overalls here in Montreal. I know Eastern Canada is a different thing. Ontario, you get a lot of them farm boys, so they've got the Carhartts, like the nice thicky ones.
Yeah, I rocked a brown pair of Carhartts for a long time, and then they're just too expensive to wear all the time. So I found a pair of camo ones that I wore for a tour that everyone got COVID on, which was sick because we didn't get to play with Dangers, which we were supposed to. And that really made me sad, but the boys' health came first. And then I was like, oh man, I was at a Dulux, like the paint supply store. And I turned around and there was a rack of White Painters Dickies pants and overalls, and they were $40 brand new. I was like, I can't not get them. I can't not get them. So
I fuck with the white pants too. The white pants are clean. Yeah.
I used to wear, I had a pair of, back when I wore tight pants, I had a pair of white 511s, and I had all white Vans and a white shirt. And I would just play like in an all white kit until we played this like dirty old basement barn show in Truro, which is like an hour from Halifax. And it went from white to brown, and I just retired the whole thing. I was like, this is not a good time. No amount of bleach is going to save this outfit.
But now you come full circle, because I think you're back to white Vans and White Painters Dickies.
Yeah, but I'm retiring the overalls for a bit. I'm kind of trying to go like a good Bruce Springsteen look now, I think.
Yes.
Blue jeans, white shirt. I got to find like a red bandana or like a ball cap that's not worth anything and stick it in my pocket or something.
And then with the sleeves rolled up, like
with halfway. The sleeves rolled up, yeah. I kind of wish that I was a smoker solely so I could have a pack of cigarettes there. But maybe I'll like put a pack of picks there or something. That'd be kind of silly, eh?
Or get the candy cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Popeyes?
For the fuck of it. Yeah, some Popeyes, like candy cigarettes. Don't smoke. Smoking's bad, kids.
Yeah, smoking is bad, but I won't lie, it looks cool as hell.
It looks cool as shit.
Like, can you imagine if I smoked cigarettes, how cool I would look?
I think that deserves like three edge points taken away.
Well, Dwayne told me because I went sober in my 30s that I'm not allowed to claim edge. So I'm just a sober man.
He sounds like an elitist.
I'm not about to put him on blast for that. So
Dwayne's not even straight edge.
No, fucking loser.
Botfly's been a band since 2014.
13.
Wow.
I think the first release was November 2013 because this year in November will be the 10-year release date of our first single.
So you started Botfly.
Yes, sir.
How did all of that kind of come to be?
Right. So I guess we can go way back if you want. So I started playing in bands in 8th grade. I think I made my first band. So what are you there, like 14?
Not even.
Something like that.
13, 14?
Yeah, and it was like very classic, terrible. Didn't know what we wanted to do. Literally our name was Nomad Vacuum, and it was just like pull out the dictionary, flip to 2 pages, pick the first word you see. It was really bad. There's no evidence anywhere, so no one can find it. So don't even try and look if you're going to try. But it was, this was the Pure Volume days, right? So that's where we had all of our stuff. This is pre-MySpace. Yeah.
Wow.
So we played, me and a few other people played in that band. had like 4 songs, did a recording with my uncle, who's like a jazz musician who has a studio. And like, he had no idea what to think of what we were doing. And never played shows, never did anything. I mean, we were fucking 14. What were we supposed to do? That band fizzled out. And by that point in time, MySpace had become a thing. And I got a random DM from my friend Yusuf Musavi. And he invited me to join this absolutely terrible metalcore band. And then him and I went on to continue to make 4 or 5 more shitty metalcore bands like we all do in our early teens, until he left to go to Berkeley for music school. So he's like an incredible jazz musician, jazz guitarist. He's a fantastic musician. And he played in a cool Supremo band called New Ruins, which Zegma Beach released a record on. I don't know. So after he moved away to college, I mean, I've been playing music with him for like 8 years, and I felt kind of discouraged. And I was very much like the accompanist. I wasn't writing the songs. I was just kind of like helping him write songs. So I kind of took a bit of a breather from music while I went to culinary school. Did that and kind of just like bummed around, going to shows, not really playing, not really touching my guitar. Still had like my stuff just sitting in a closet kind of thing. And then around the time that Daughters record came out that we were talking about, I got a message from a friend of mine, Tom Burke, who played in Frail Hands, if you know that band.
Yep.
And we started a band called Burdens. He was like 16 and I was 20. I think this was the age. And the stuff he was writing was crazy. And like, it just like we listened to that record and we listened to Botch, and we were just like, okay, we're going to make crazy music. And we did. But he was 16, and I think, anxieties kind of got to him, and it's just like, oh, I can't do this. And then the band kind of broke up. And I was a little bit pissed about that, because I was like, I was seeing the steps that we could be making, and like we kind of gained local popularity pretty quick. And that was the first time ever for me. So I was like, oh, like there's something here that like I'm stoked on. So after that, this is where we find out that I played in a lot of bands that have band names that start with the letter B. So don't judge me for this, but it just is how it is. So from all that, I started getting really into Ken Mode, and Ken Mode was like still noisy, but like way more aggressive and heavier. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So like I was really listening to a lot of Ken Mode and a lot of the Jesus Lizard, and I made a band called Batholith. And it was basically a continuation of what we were doing in Burdens, but maybe more pissed off. And that band, like, that was like my band that I was like, okay, I'm writing songs now. So I was like, I've been playing guitar since I was 12, and I didn't start really writing songs that I was confident about until I was like 22, 21, which when I look back at it, I'm like, whoa, that's silly. But that's what like social anxiety will do to you when you're not confident about stuff.
Right.
And so I was really like driven on that band, but everyone else in that band had like 4 other projects or were career driven, or like, I was the only one who was like, this is the thing, like, let's do this. And everyone else was like, yeah, like whatever. So that like kind of fueled my anger to like make more aggressive music, but like not in a healthy way. So that
just out of spite.
Just like, oh, I was so spiteful. It was really bad. Like this is leading into an era of my life where I was like just kind of really angry all the time, which was not something I look back on fondly. But it also fueled to where I got now. So there is a bright side to look at, I guess, if you want to. So I was writing music like that. It's like you can find Batholith on Bandcamp, I think, still. And like the songs are sick. It's kind of lo-fi, but it's heavy. And I thought it was a cool band. We played it, I don't know, 6 or 7, like pretty cool shows. And then my bass player.
Is that named after Worf's weapon in Star Trek?
No, it's named after a Ken Mode song. So
okay.
So I was really into that band at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like played some cool shows. Then my bass player moved to Montreal without telling me, and I was like, oh, okay. And then the drummer got a mechanic job for like Metro Transit, which is our like bus system here, but it was like a 3 till midnight shift. So I was like, well, I guess this band's over. And and the vocalist lived like an hour away, so it was kind of doomed to begin with.
Right.
So then I made a Supremo project called Bluebird, which was pretty cool. But while I was doing Bluebird, I was writing the first Botfly songs. I was like, okay, this is kind of just my like placeholder project, because like, again, not everyone's really invested, and I'm like kind of putting a lot into this here, but it's kind of a solo effort. I don't really care for that. And it, like, again, kind of fueling my aggression in a improper way.
Right.
So once I finally got some Botfly songs that I was very excited about, my good friend Ben Brennan, who recently passed away, I started showing them to him, and he got really excited. And Ben was like a whole other level of musician. So when I started showing him these songs, and he was getting like so amped on it and wanted to be a part of it and thought it was so cool, like my confidence was shooting through the roof. You know, I'm like, this is a guy that I look up to as a guitar player, and he thinks what I'm doing is cool. So like, as this Bluebird band kind of got more difficult to wrangle everyone, I was like, I'm done with that. I'm focusing on this. And had a few iterations of lineup, because Ben was playing bass and my friend Tree, my childhood friend Tree, was playing drums, but they were also both going to recording school. And recording school is like a 1 year, you dedicate everything to it kind of program. So, you know, we wrote like 3 songs together, and then it was like, yo, like, let's try and jam. And it'd be like jams once every 3 weeks. I was like, this is not like, this is not the kind of project that you can just be sloppy on. Like I was very adamant that this was going to be a tight band. This was going to be a proper band. Like, we were going to do everything right, or what I thought was right at the time. And they just couldn't commit. And they were very upfront about that. They're like, look, we think what you're doing is cool, but you know, this schooling is what we want to do. And unfortunately we can't do both. So we took the one song that we were all very fluent on, which was Lunacy, and we recorded it at the community college studio. And then I released that as like, this is what I did with these 2 guys. This is my project. This is what I'm trying to do. And it kind of like gained a lot of traction right away, which I thought was cool, because I think I was doing something very outside the box for what people were doing locally here. I mean, Atlantic Canada has had this like Misery Signals chokehold forever, right? Which is no shade. I think Misery Signals are fucking awesome, but you know, they're like, especially with Sonai's getting really big and really popular, and like people wanting to do that sound, and it was getting very like cookie cutter band. You know, that's all you heard was that. And so I was really trying to just be like, I want to do something completely different, because I'm not interested in that. That doesn't excite me. This stuff excites me. So I started writing the early Botfly stuff, which could be considered the most noise rock, I guess, out of all of it. So then I'm left with this single that people think is really cool, I'm really excited about, but I don't have a band. So I'm like, well, what the hell? And then a good friend of mine, Chris Murdoch, he comes to me, says, yo, I want to play drums in this band, which was a huge honor, because he's been in so many like big punk bands. He was the drummer in Envision, who like toured all through America and stuff. And I was just like, I was dumbfounded that like he was excited, but he was like, yeah, I want to play something that like really challenges my drumming. I want to do this. And I was like, okay, like let's go at it. And then I was looking for a bass player, and I was very adamant too that I just wanted this to be a 3-piece. I didn't want to play with another guitarist. I did that so much, and it just was always clashing heads. So I was like, you know, at this point, I'm like, I don't want to say egotistical, but like I have my vision and I'm doing my thing. So I was like, I don't want to hear other guitar players' influences. I want to do what I'm doing. And people have to, if they want to be in this band, they got to get with that. And unfortunately, I was maybe a little strict in that, where I was like, yo, like, if you want to be a part of Botfly, like, you're dedicated. And if you're not, then don't bother coming in, because like I'm trying to do something here. And so we're looking for a bass player. Dwayne and I have been great friends since I was 15. He was 16. So we've been friends forever. He was living on PEI and playing in a band with Sean. So okay. I was talking to Dwayne. I was like, yo, like, I'm looking for a bass player. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And he's like, well, me and Sean are both moving to Halifax like next week. So you should talk to him. So I just random message shot to Sean, just like, hey, we're jamming. Here's the first single. Like, if you want to be a part of this, come to jam next Tuesday, I think it was. And he was like, yo, yeah, for sure. Shows up. Here's my band. Like, he was all in. Chris was all in. And within 4 jams, like, we had a ton of songs already. Because I had all this stuff, and they learned it right quick. And then I was like, I was so excited about it. I started writing more and more and more and more. So we do the first real release, Parasitic Oscillation, with Chris. Ben recorded everything up until the last full length, Lower Than Love. Ben recorded everything. So he was always a part of the band, and he was always someone that I was like showing what I was doing, because I respected his opinion, and he like enjoyed that he still got to be kind of a part of it in a sense. And so we record Parasitic Oscillation, and then we record the 2-song EP, Host. And then Chris comes to me, he's like, I'm having a baby, so you've got like 4 more months with me, and then I kind of gotta go be a dad. And I was like, yo, dude, absolutely. Obviously, right? Like I get it. And so we play a couple more shows with Chris, and then Dwayne was coming to our jams just because he thought the band was cool. Like, he put out, like, he had a little tape label for like 2 months called Scribble Pages, and he put out the Parasitic Oscillation tape. So even Dwayne was like kind of a part of the band before he joined the band. And I came to him and I was like, look, like, I need a drummer. You play drums. Like, do you want to do this? And then I gave him the whole rundown. Like, this comes before this, and this comes, like, this is a priority, blah, 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 being a fucking stupid kid with like a militant fucking attitude towards my band. And he was down. And we gave him no time to get ready. I think he was in the band for like 3 weeks, and we had a show. I was like, you got to figure it out. Right. Which is like fucking insane, right? But he stepped up and he filled the shoes, and you know, we haven't looked back since. It was the 3 of us for a long, long time. And you know, we were doing something that not everybody understood, and that was to be expected, because we were playing something that was outside the classic normal for the maritime scene. And some people really fucked with it, and some people just kind of, as they do, made fun of us because we were playing insanely loud and had all these amps. And, you know, people like, oh, dude, it was terrible. People would be like, I won't name names because I don't need to dox anyone here, but like, people would be like making fun of us at the show, and then have the audacity to come up and be like, hey, can I use your gear? Just be like, you're literally like, yeah, whatever. And
it's
like
just classic hardcore scene.
Oh, dude. And like, you know, it just, people were too cool for school. And like, because I cared about what I was doing and had a vision, or at this point in time, the 3 of us cared what we were doing and had a vision and wanted to do something bigger than being a local band. Like, that was something to make fun of, which, like, you know, did not help the way that my brain was already working at that point in time. So like, you got me already like pissed off and angry all the time, trying to do something outside of the normal, feeling very good about it, but getting backlash at the same time. So I'm just like, you know, other things in my personal life are not going great. Like, it's a whole whirlwind of bad times. And I kind of lived like that for, I'd say, 5 years. Like, the first 5 years of that band was just like kind of feeling like we were outsiders in our own city and just struggling to like Like, you know, it was like, okay, well, if people don't care about us here, we're going on tour. Fuck this city kind of thing, which
Right.
no one should ever have to feel that way about their hometown when they're in a band. Like there should be hometown love. Like
Yeah.
let the new kids in your city have that chance. Let that band like have a chance to find their legs. And I don't feel like that happened for me. And it's possible that that's maybe my own just perception of it getting in the way. And you know, there was people who were down with us from the beginning, but I was kind of too blind by frustration to see it. But at the same time, it made me be like, okay, well, if Halifax doesn't care about us, then we're going to Moncton, then we're going to Montreal, then we're going to Ottawa, then we're going to Southern Ontario. And that just kind of fueled my like, okay, if hometown doesn't care about me, I'm going to prove that they should care about me, which it's such a double-edged sword, you know, like I'm so grateful that I reached a point that like we have a lot of love here in the Atlantic Canadian provinces. But I don't know if I ever would have accomplished that without, even if it was just my own brain being like, yo, people don't care about what you're doing. You got to push harder. Even if it was just me, like it made me push so hard that I feel like we got to this level because of it. So I wouldn't recommend my approach to anyone, but I do credit it for what we've been able to achieve. Not that we're a big band, but you know, like we are at a point where we sell out Montreal shows, and that's a cool feeling because for a long time it was 20 people.
Yeah.
And so it feels cool to be where we're at. And I do spend a lot of time trying to reflect in a positive manner on all of it, because it's so easy to get caught up in like not feeling like you got enough, or that you're still struggling to get this, or that people aren't paying attention. And I go through that once a month where I'm just like, oh, like it just so driven to a fault. And just like, it's got its goods and its bads. And I'm 32 now, and I'm able to like step back and be like, okay, like it's cool that like I've got this drive, but also like accept that like there is a lot of love for what I did. And I appreciate that from anyone who's ever given it to us. And I do have to try and remember to spend time like with that side of it too, where it's like, yo, like, yeah, we've been a band for 10 years, and like, you know, some bands blow up in 3 years, some bands never blow up, and whatever happens. But we have done more than I ever expected this band to do. And I'm so appreciative to anyone who ever helped us or wanted to help us, or even just came to a show, or just like reaches out to ask when we're doing something, or even like crazier, like people who reach out and are like, yo, like this one song, like I just got divorced a month ago and I've been listening to this song on repeat and it's really helping me. And I'm like, that's a tough thing to hear, because you feel like what you wrote is like kind of more than it was supposed to be. But it's also just like, damn, like I'm happy that you're getting that from what I did. Like it's really just me trying to get past my own emotions. But if you're connecting to it, like, thank you. Yeah. Anyways, that was very long-winded, but it was good. That's the history.
I mean, I would say there's from just being in Montreal and like being at one of y'all shows, there's a lot of love here for what you guys are doing. And I know that it's the result of a lot of work, like a lot of time on the road. And like, I hate when bands do get discouraged, because it may take them longer than some bands that just, you know, overnight pop off. But I've had lots of friends that are in bands for 10 plus years that it's at that 10-year mark that it like takes off and they sign to a major label. And like, so you just never know. It's just different for everybody. So, but yeah, I mean, what you've put out and what you guys have done is incredible. Like y'all have so many good songs, and like listening to Lower Than Love, when I was doing it like a few months ago, is like the dynamics of this album are just crazy.
Thank you.
So like, I can't write that. So yeah, you should definitely feel satisfied and proud of the things that y'all have put out and continue to put out.
And for what it's worth, I do. I don't want anyone to take away that I'm like upset that we're not getting this or we're not getting that. Like, the whole goal when I started this band was to go on tour once. If I could go on tour once, that would be cool. And I've gone on like this band has been on like 20 tours. Like, we've toured a lot. Like, we've played a lot of shows. So like every time we get to do something, I'm just like, I can't believe that I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still seeing progress every time. Like, there's more people come to shows. There's more people that learn the words. Like, that time you saw us at Turbo House and like I stopped playing the song and the whole crowd was singing with me. Like, that was the first time that ever happened. And I was just like, all right, like, we did something here that I never expected this band would ever do.
Yeah.
So like, thank you to everyone who cares about us. Obviously, I'm not trying to sound like a spoiled brat. It's just my mindset is always just so fucking driven. And I grew up with two parents who ran a business, who like, entrepreneur brains, and that's all I know. So it's like, you got to keep going kind of shit.
The hustle.
Yep. So it's just born and bred into me. And you got to have someone in the band that's like that for it to keep pushing. So
it's true.
It's true. It drives me crazy sometimes, but it's worth it in the end.
Somebody's got to have that reach, right? You gotta be always being like, we can do it. We can do more. Yeah. So yeah, I totally feel you.
And also, for what it's worth, like, I couldn't do it without the other three. Like, it's not like I'm the driving force and like I gotta fucking pack their bags for them. Everyone in this band is like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Like, whatever. Like, we're not getting any younger. Let's just keep going until our bodies hurt too much. And I tell them all the time, but I can't thank them enough. And I love them so much for like letting me get to do this in my own expressive way, but they also get to express themselves in their way. And I'm very thankful.
Yeah. Dwayne does footwork here, by the way. You should know that.
I do.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless that boy.
Yeah. He's a wonderful boy.
He really is.
Also, shout out Glint.
Yeah. Glint is cool.
I saw their first show. It was sick.
The funny thing for me about that band, so Alex Moore, who plays guitar as well in that band, also used to live with me when Babs was living here. And like, that first single that they released, we started a band called Key Ring, and that was like our first song. And like, I played bass and had a whole vocal thing. Like, I have a demo on my computer. So every time I hear that song, like, I hear my vocals still, even though like, I don't know the person who does vocals in that band, but they did a way better job than I did. But I just like, I'm just so like, because I had to listen to it so much and I wrote it, I was like, all I hear is mine. I'm like, I gotta get that out of my head so that I can just hear.
I need to enjoy this music for what it is.
Yeah. It's like, I gotta like release or let go of like my view on what that song was supposed to be and just like enjoy the better version that it is now.
Well, you guys have a tour coming up. Let's hear the deets. Let's hear what you guys got going on for the rest of the year.
Okay, well, we're going back to America so long as the visa goes through, the papers are in. So we should be okay, unless I fucked something up. But yeah, so we'll be going on tour in July for most of July, which is cool. We'll be in Ontario and Montreal and then crossing in Windsor over to Detroit. And then we're going to Chicago, which I've never been, but we've been Emperor endorsed for a long time. And we're finally going to the factory and we're going to meet all those dudes. And like we're picking up a cab while we're on it, because that's what we needed was more gear. And and I'm really excited to meet them after having a working relationship with them for so long, and just like get a little tour of the factory. And, you know, maybe if they're not busy or whatever, they'll come to the gig, which would be cool.
Where y'all playing in Chicago? Is it Cobra?
We're playing the Beat Kitchen, which
Okay.
is maybe a bigger venue than we should be playing, but we all know how these things go. Hopefully there'll be a good local there to,
Yeah. It's always daunting playing big rooms.
Well, I mean,
I
we
guess,
did it for a long time playing to like 20 people. So, it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad, like you ride that Montreal sellout show on a Saturday and you get hopefully to Wednesday off that good feeling, because we all know Sunday through Wednesday is just a roll of the dice.
Oh, I guess we're playing Brooklyn on a Tuesday.
Well, that's it, right? So I think we play the Beat Kitchen on a Tuesday, and it's like a 300 cap room. So it's going to just be like, oh yeah, sick. All right.
Oh man, I'll be interested to see who's on that show.
Me too.
But hopefully it goes well. Like, I am always very happy when bands from Canada are able to cross the border and like give like people in the US some experience that like they don't know what's going on over here. Like as somebody that moved here from the States, like I didn't listen to Cancer Bats growing up. Like Misery Signals.
Band. Yeah.
I know. Like Misery Signals was like, we knew Comeback Kid was probably the biggest hardcore band, and Alexis. Like, yeah, those were the two ones that we knew.
Comeback Kid's kind of still the biggest hardcore band. They're fucking massive.
They're huge.
And for what it's worth, the nicest dudes. Like,
Silverstein. Silverstein is like the GOAT.
I've heard that too.
Band.
I've heard that too, that they're super nice too. Never had the opportunity to meet them, but doing that small run with Comeback Kid and Cancer Bats, both those bands full of fantastic people.
So, Liam is a gem.
He's got a lot of love for that guy. He's done a lot for me in the few years that we've been buds. So
he's just such a nice guy, like crazy nice. Like the little amount of time that I've spent with him, he's also still in it on the ground level. Like he's still going to shows. He's going to the local shows here. Like he knows what bands are doing what. Like, yeah. And I can't say that in 10, 15 years when I'm closer to his age that I don't know if I'll be doing that. I like being home. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to go to like 8 shows a week, bro. Like,
yeah. I don't have the social capacity for that. Like we go on 2-3 weeks of tour and I get home, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to see anybody for like I just want to spend time with my girl and my dog and that's it.
And you're not a country artist?
No. I keep like teetering with the like, oh, like I should do like a solo record or something just like for my own want and desire. But
do that Pine Grove style shit.
We could, but I've noticed that people don't give a fuck about what I'm doing if it's not heavy. So just not that what I do is derivative of what people are going to care about, but I figure I can make a country record when I'm 40. I should probably just keep writing hardcore records.
Yeah. Give the people what they want.
Yeah. But it's also what I want. Every time I try and like sit down and play like a clean guitar, I'm like, I can't chug on this. How do I dun-dun on like an acoustic guitar? That just sounds dumb. So it's cool.
Hardcore and country music.
There's a lineage.
It's like Spirit. Is it Spirit World does Death Western?
You're telling me I have no idea.
That's what it's called. Death Western.
You know what I've been getting a lot of pushed ads for, which I'm not stoked on? These like southern dudes who are doing metalcore and country together.
Oh, I don't love that.
I'm like, I don't need this in my life. I'll take country and like maybe like a metalcore band here and there. But I definitely don't need them together.
Together is wrong. It's an abomination.
Yeah, like I don't want to hear that ever. And it's like pop country, so it's not even like good country. It's like oh, Knock Loose played Coachella, so now everything's cool. Like just put everything together.
False. None of that is cool.
Yeah.
Well, Keegan, I've really enjoyed this. I really hope that you guys have a great time on that tour. Everything goes well with the visas. Are you guys putting any music out this year or early next year?
I mean, I'm looking at like my Google Drive folder right now, and I've got like 20 demos that I gotta like work through. So there's lots of music in the vault. I would like to say we'll put something out this year, but I don't know. We're writing a record. If we do an EP before that, we might. I mean, we have the material, so it's not out of the question, but I'm not going to say for sure because our drummer does live in Montreal, so you know.
You can't always blame Dwayne for everything.
It's his fault. It's his fault.
If you want a new record, convince Dwayne to move back to Nova Scotia.
I don't know. He really loves it there, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. But it is what it is.
I think you'd have a hard time convincing everybody to let him move back. Like, it wouldn't just be him; it would be like everyone. Yeah,
we're taking the whole team, you included. We're bringing Bruiserweight to Nova Scotia.
I don't know if, man. Do y'all know how to mosh over there,
dude? Not like you guys up there.
Are y'all friendlier? Is more
it's
considerate?
Definitely like moshing here was very like
taboo,
frowned upon, for sure. I've played shows where like people have gotten mad at other people for just like dancing, and I was like, yo, like you gotta let people, like, if they're not hurting someone, just let them express themselves. Like that's the real shit. But it's definitely it's turned a corner here. We played a New Year's Eve show, and Babs had this bright idea to buy wrestling belts. So we bought 2 wrestling belts, and I was like, okay, person moshing the best gets one, and person who does the best stage dive gets one. And we we blasted that. We're like, yo, like I want to see pitting and I want to see diving. And people went fucking off. Like, we're not a band that, like, we didn't get a stage dive until the Comeback Kid show. And I think that's because like the Comeback Kid show was like everybody was going to stage dive, so whatever. But I got so fucking hyped when I saw it the first time. I was like, yes. And then so I was like, okay, well, I'm making sure people are still going to move when it's just us. So
yeah,
we bought these wrestling belts, and like I was telling people, I was like, I haven't seen enough yet. Like, let's keep it moving. And by the end of the set, dude, like we had a waterfall of people. It was just like a lineup getting on the stage, and like I had to like back away from the mic. I was like,
yes.
y'all just do your thing. Like, this is so cool. Like,
as long as you're into terror,
as long as you're not hurting anyone, like I want to see people express themselves how they feel to our music. And the only thing I want to see never again is that fucking rowing shit, you know, where people get on the ground, they start rowing. Oh, dude, that got to go. But the rest of it,
yeah, don't do that.
The rest of it's sick. So keep stage diving, keep fucking pitting, keep enjoying yourself, and just that's it, man. That's it.
Support violent dancing. This is my thing. It's violent dancing. Okay.
Dancing, yeah.
You don't have to hurt people, but have fun.
Yeah.
And then that's how you make friends. That's how you make friends at shows. By the way, the first friends I made in the scene was because I was in the pit.
Yeah.
So
because you know that people who pit are down for the core.
Yeah, they're there for it.
I will say, you may not see me in the pit, but I kind of am above the weight limit for pit. You know? I'm a big fella.
Not here.
No, not there. Definitely not there. But like stage dives and shit, I'm a little too big for that. I got to be a little courteous, but you know, I'm doing my stretching. I might be spin kicking here soon. Who knows?
You tall guy.
I am. I'm 6'2", 260 pounds. You don't need to be catching me.
No. Pack it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, again, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm super excited to see you guys in July.
Hell yeah.
It's always a fun time when Botfly's in town.
Wicked. Thank you.
I got to know what your favorite city for Beans and Breakdowns is.
All right. So Beans, I want to give it to Dartmouth because I'm stoked on my dude. But there's a cafe in Windsor, Ontario called Cafe March 21.
Okay.
And the guy who runs it, his name's Henry. He was a scientist of some sort and just like hated the pressure. and like all that stuff. So he just said, fuck it, I'm opening a cafe. And you walk in and it's like so calm. Everything's a pour over, everything's single origin. And like, you just feel like this like weight lifted off you as soon as you get in there. And he, like, we've talked to him quite a few times now. He follows the band on Instagram. He sees when we're coming to Windsor, and like when we roll in, like we're like, Henry, and he gets all excited. He's just like, yo, it's you guys. And like every time he like give us some pins, and like we get coffee and we just hang out, and like he asks us how the tour's going and stuff. And so we've like created a little bond with the owner. And like, if anyone's in Windsor ever, you should try and go there, because it's kind of like a gem in the rough there, because Windsor's kind of a down and out spot, but the scene is sick. So it's worth going to. But that little cafe is just like tucked away in the corner of downtown. And when you find it, you walk in, you just feel like, oh yeah, I could spend a couple hours here.
Nice.
Yeah. And for breakdowns, I'm going to give it to y'all. Montreal fucking looking real American right now. So
we're on that ignorant shit.
You got me thinking I should be writing some ignorant shit. So
smooth out them wrinkles.
I gotta take a couple wrinkles out of this brain of mine. But no, I wish more Americans would pay attention, because Canadian hardcore looking real American right now, and to bridge that gap would be fucking great.
I'll listen, and we will talk offline about this, but let's just say fucking Bruiserweight by the end of the year, we gotta play Maritimes. We gotta do it.
I can make that happen.
We're gonna try to figure it out.
I can make that happen.
We got a good few friends over there that I'd love to see.
Mm-hmm.
Also, never been to New Brunswick. I've never been past the Eastern Townships. I'll say that. So I think just for my own education, we'll make it an educational trip.
Yeah.
Go play.
You could stay at my house. I don't fucking care.
Hell yeah. So we'll set something up, but you know, I love this place that we're in with Ontario. We've got a nice little express highway between Toronto and Hamilton and Montreal. There's a lot of really good vibes. Last night, Spirit of Vengeance played the release show for Scaramanga. It was sold out.
That looked sick.
Unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I showed up right as it ended just to hang out. But I heard it was very, very good.
Yeah,
good
I saw
vibe.
some stories and I was like, yo, that looks like a fun show.
So super excited that we've got Ontario. Even when we played the Casa show, there was members from Gavel that were in town, so they were able to hang out. A lot of fun stuff. So we got to extend that to the Maritimes. I know that we're technically not Eastern Canada, but let's make it from Toronto all the way over, and we'll make it Eastern Canada.
We really should, and I'm happy to be a part of making that bridge happen. There's a lot of really good heavy bands in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia right now, and PEI, and even up Cape Breton way. Like there is
Pale Ache,
Targeted Individual.
What's Hardened is not from
Surface Wounds.
I don't even know those.
If you got indie bands coming through, you got Love Over. You know, there's a lot. If you got more punk bands, you got Cell Death, you got Mutated Void, you got Sean's new band, Redacted. Fucking cool shit. Like,
that's a good ass name.
There's some really good stuff here, and I feel like people look at that 6-hour drive and they get scared. But like, if you're gonna go to Rimouski, you might as well come out here.
It's another 6. Just make it happen.
Just make it happen. If you can stop in Rimouski, what's a 6-hour drive? If you're afraid of a 6-hour drive, you're not a touring band.
That's less than Toronto.
That's my hard take. If you can't take a 12-hour day drive, you're not a Canadian touring band.
That's the highlight. What's another 6 hours to a touring band?
Fuck it. What do you do? You're spending the day in the van anyways.
I'm all about those en route stops. So,
dog, let me tell you, those incredible.
Popeyes at every single one.
Yeah, that's a new thing. And a lot of them have Burger King too, so Sean as a vegetarian can eat.
A&W's got vegetarian options.
And
too.
A&W.
They got that Beyond Meat.
Yeah, but I got beef with A&W because you can't even get a soda pop for less than $10 there. So like,
it's quality.
Come on, quality. It's soda.
A&W trumps most fast food spots.
It is very good. I will fuck with it, but I don't got $25 for a combo when I'm on tour.
They stingy.
Mm-hmm. It's a treat. It's a treat.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
You as well.
And we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah. Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Keegan for spending some time with us on the podcast. If you haven't already listened to Botfly, be sure to check out their music. It's available on all streaming platforms. And also, if you see a tour date coming up near you, like Keegan was talking about, be sure to grab some tickets, go say what's up, buy a t-shirt. It's definitely a fun time. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.